Ms. Carosella?
Here.
Mr. Cohen? Yes. Mr. Corey?
Present.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. Parlamas?
Here.
Ms. Rendell?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson?
Here.
Ms. Calvez?
Here.
Dr. Robinson?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Calvez, if you're able to perform the flag salute, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of meeting in accordance with PL 1975, Chapter 231. Notice of tonight's meeting was mailed to the record in the Ridgewood News on January 7th, 2025. Notice of this meeting was also mailed to the Borough Clerk and was posted on the bulletin board of the Board of Education office in the Administration Building on the same date. I'll read our mission statement today. The Glen Rock School District, founded on principles of education in partnership with a supportive community, provides an exceptional education to all students to cultivate resilient, responsible, and engaged global citizens. Hudson, would you be able to provide us with a nice update?
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Absolutely. As it seems like we've transitioned, thankfully, from our winter months towards the spring months, a lot of exciting things have been happening at Glen Rock High School, and I'm excited to be able to share them with you all tonight. First and foremost, the boys and girls basketball teams both won the NJSIAA state sectional final. This is a great accomplishment. It was the first time the boys team has ever won it, and the first time the girls has won it since 1988. So it was a great way to round out two very successful seasons. And continuing also with our winter sports, one of our wrestlers qualified for the state tournament down in Atlantic City, so that was also a great accomplishment as well. As I mentioned the transition, now spring sports have started. Practices started last week on Monday, and scrimmages are starting as soon as this week, so it's definitely very exciting for all of our spring athletes. So we have baseball, softball, boys and girls golf, boys and girls lacrosse, track, and boys tennis, which is actually the team that I am on. So, very exciting time. In other news, the New Jersey graduation proficiency assessment testing for juniors was this week, or last week into this week. It was Tuesday through today. And it was for our juniors, including myself and Connor and Nate, to meet our graduation requirements. But that ended today. And tomorrow we actually have our in-school SAT. And then next Tuesday, we have our in-school ACT. Thankfully, I don't have a huge test tomorrow, so that's nice. I'll be taking the ACT, though. More of our seniors are hearing back from colleges, and will continue to do so until around April, from what I hear, so that's definitely very exciting for them. And yeah, I mean, as I noted, it's, the nice weather, it's lighter out later, and all of that combination it makes morale a lot higher at the high school, and so that's a lot of fun. And also a lot of fun events are happening towards the end of the school year, and we're all looking forward to those as well, definitely. And also, I did just want to update you all that the Genesis policy of not having it during the school day, it was definitely a hard adjustment, but I think overall it was a success. The school environment definitely feels a lot more relaxed throughout the day, not as cutthroat and competitive as it has been in the past, and it's very, we can still see our grades too, so it's a very nice balance, I think. So, thank you all.
Thank you very much, Hudson, for proactively providing us with that assessment as well, as all of the congratulations to all the teams and our athletes. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, first of all, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I forgot to wear green.
I think your tie's out.
Okay, thanks. Ms. Calvez tried to give me her green hat, but I said no, thank you. but it looks like Dr. Robinson might have taken it on. And, I'm a whole 3/8 Irish, so you think I should be more excited about this, but I'm not. Anyway, so a few things, about half of the things on my list Hudson stole from me, so I'll just kind of repeat some of the stuff he said. No, I have some other things. So first of all is I want to talk about pre-K, which we're calling the Early Childhood Program. We had registration open last week, and we had, I think it was maybe 20 on the first day. We're maybe up to 23 or 4 that have registered for it, which is a good solid number. So that means we have a wait list because we're cutting it off at 15, which provides 3 nice classes of 5 and room for any other children that come to us for the PSD program or the special ed side of things. So that's a good number. We're really happy with that. What we have told them all is if they got in, congratulations, you got in. Here's the registration paperwork. Fill it out. Give us your registration fee by Monday, the 24th. And if they decline, if they say no thank you, we'll move to the next people on the wait list, is how we're going to do it. The other thing that we're going to do is on Friday afternoon offer a quick tour of 1 or 2 of the classrooms for those who got in. We've invited them to that so that they can see the space before they have to pay a registration fee. So if it's something that they decide this is not for them, they can move on. But I think it looks beautiful. I think that we've all seen it now, and it's just bright and lovely, and it'll look even better once we get all the furniture and the decorations and all that stuff. So happy about where things are going with that. Kindergarten registration is ongoing. Last I heard, we had about 120 kids. I forgot to ask her for an update today. You didn't by chance get it? No. Yeah, I forgot to get it. But we were right around 120 last I heard, and that's very typical for this time of the year. So it's been strong, it's been good, it's been consistent, kind of what we expect. As Hudson said, NJGPA testing is over, just some makeups to do. It's about a dozen kids that need to do a makeup test or 2. So that'll happen over the next few days. A couple other just congratulations of real success that we've seen. He mentioned the basketball boys and girls had a really great season, but we also, the robotics team had a really great season. They went down to the state tournament this weekend. Cosmic Goose lost in the final round, so they're not advancing necessarily. But we do want to congratulate both teams and thank all who have supported them. Coaches Locatell and Murray especially, but there are a lot of adults that are supporting that team and really cheering them on, so I really appreciate that. And of course, the kids, they're here many hours working on those robots, and it's really good. Willy Wonka Jr. was last weekend at the middle school. I was not able to attend. My daughter came home from college, and so I was not around. But I hear it was fantastic. Mr. Ferreira told me that it was fantastic. They did a phenomenal job. He said Friday nearly sold out. There were just a couple rows of seats empty, which was great. He said also, one of the nice things to hear about, we had a good crop of 6th graders, is what he said, which is a nice thing for building the program over the next several years. So that's really nice to see. So congratulations to all the cast and crew and those support them. And then the last thing I just want to say before I go, not just the students that are doing such great work here and the staff members that are doing it. It takes, a lot of people to make these things happen. I was looking today at the Glen Echo for the February issue of this, and it's Ms. Dredski who advises this. I advised a newspaper for a high school for a while. It's a tremendous amount of work, right? And on all parts. So I just want to thank all of the people, even if they're not coming here for awards or going to state tournaments and all that. We have really dedicated staff, really amazing kids, really good supportive community. And these are the things that make Glen Rock or any school system successful. So it's just great to see, and sometimes, we just need to spotlight that sometimes. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Van Nest, and thank you for that important reminder. All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Van Nest with regards to the announcements he just gave? All right. So we'll be moving to our first public comments for agenda items. Seeing no members of the public. Open and closed at 7:27. Can I have a motion to discuss items G1 through G9, resolutions G1 through? Ms. Parlamis, seconded by Ms. Calvez. Are there any questions? All right. Stephanie?
Yep. Just wanted to say thank you to the boosters, G7, for the scoreboard. It's an amazing donation, so thank you.
Ms. Stevenson?
I also wanted to piggyback off that, the Booster Club, current president has really done an amazing job with getting the scoreboard, which is a tremendous amount of money, the paver project that they did over by the snack stand. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of hours that parents dedicate in there. A lot of selling of hamburgers and french fries. If anybody ever has a chance to go volunteer a little bit in the snack stand, I think it'd be a nice way for us to repay a little bit for all the stuff that the boosters have done for us. And it's actually not that, it's actually fun in there. So I just want to thank them for all their donations and their hard work.
Thank you for that reminder. Any other questions or comments regarding G items? All right, Mr. Canellis?
Ms. Carasola?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. Parlamas?
Yes.
Ms. Rendell?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Calves?
Yes.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Can I have a motion to discuss B1 through B8? Ms. Carosella, seconded by Dan Corey. All right.
I just have one change on B2. There is a typo. The travel max number should read $133,070. And that appears both in the second paragraph and the next to last paragraph. So 134,320 changes to 133,070. My apologies.
Okay. Noted. All right. Are there any questions or comments regarding our B items? All right, oh, yes, Ms. Carosella.
Just calling out, so that everyone knows, the budget presentation will be at our May 5th meeting, which is noted here, but just a call out.
Yes. Right now, this is just the preliminary to go to the county superintendent, right? Okay, all right. And then we come back, and then we have a full presentation, which would be similar to what you did last year. Okay, all right. Any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you. Mr. Canellis?
Ms. Carosella?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
No to B1, yes for everything else.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. Parlamas?
Yes.
Ms. Rundell?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Calves?
Yes.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Can I have a motion to discuss P1 through P12? Ms. Stevenson, seconded by Ms. Carosella. Questions or comments regarding our P items? Ms. Stevenson.
On P1, I just want to wish Mrs. Much a very long, happy, and healthy retirement. Two of my kids had her as a teacher, and she really was amazing. Amazing teacher, really understanding with the kids. So I'm very happy for her. It's sad that we're losing a great teacher, and I wish her well.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to say the same thing. My kids actually didn't have her, but I always admired her, and I actually hoped to get her. I once had a high school student tell me that he hoped his sister got her because she was the most influential person in his life as he reflected on his kindergarten through like ninth. Yes. So I hope she knows that. I think she does. But yeah, over 20 years at Hamilton, she's made a huge impact, and she's going to be missed, but a well-earned retirement for sure.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to say thank you to Mr. Van Nest and Mr. Canellis. Happy to be voting yes on P2 and 3.
Excellent, thank you. As well as congratulations to Ms. Usami for her years of service here. So we're always appreciative of all of the contributions of our staff here, and thank you. Mr. Corey?
Just to add on to the compliments, Mrs. Much was my oldest fourth grade teacher last year. She made him a better student and made my wife and I better parents by counseling us on how to help him. So she was helping everybody along the way. We're going to miss her.
Awesome. All right. All right, Mr. Canellis?
Ms. Carasola,
Yes.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Corey,
Yes.
Mr. Hayward,
Yes.
Ms. Parlamis,
Yes.
Ms. Rundell,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Ms. Calvez,
Yes.
Dr. Robinson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And then next, we see the vandalism, suspension, and HIB reports. As per usual. Are there any questions? All right. And on to our second set of public comments, 2 of 2. 7:34, we're open, and seeing no members of the public. 7:34, we're closed. And then on to old business. So I just want to formally thank Mr. Hara for coming to discuss our old business today. I will start by opening up the floor for you to set the tone of the discussion.
Good evening, everyone. And members of the public who are viewing the meeting remotely, the board is about to engage in a discussion of a personnel matter involving the superintendent of schools. Personnel matters are generally the subject of executive sessions, and the public doesn't have the opportunity to hear or see what's going on during the executive discussion. However, an affected employee does have a right to waive his or her privacy rights, and should that occur, that discussion will be in public and not executive session. The consequences of the public discussions of the personnel matter is then borne by the affected employee, in this instance the superintendent, as a result of the public discussion of his personnel matter, which constitutes a waiver of his privacy rights. However, our executive session, which is in public, doesn't give a right to the superintendent nor any member of the public to engage in any discussions with the board about that subject matter of the personnel matters. So I think it was important for everyone to understand this is somewhat unusual, but nonetheless, it's the right of every employee to waive their privacy rights. Rights notice was given because there have been questions asked by the board as to what the current status of the superintendent's leave of absence and what are the milestones in addressing the issues. So the board president had invited me to the meeting to give you an update where we are, and there are certain decisions that have to be made on the board on how we otherwise want to proceed. Superintendent has been using his sick days since approximately November 14th, 2024. He submitted medical documentations which indicates that he is not able to report to work and has been allowed to use his sick days. He was scheduled to submit to a medical examination by his current physician to give an update to the board on his present status, and it was originally scheduled for the 17th. Unfortunately, there was a death in his family that precluded him from making that appointment, as a result of which that appointment has been rescheduled to the,
24.
just to clarify, it's
24.
March 24th?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. I'm going to put my glasses on because I couldn't see it, so I will acknowledge my limitations of my eyesight. So what we have is a situation now that the superintendent, because he doesn't have supporting medical documentation, can no longer use his sick days, and whether in fact he can use sick days in the future is going to be dependent on what happens at his doctor's appointment. There is a recent inquiry by the superintendent on whether, while he's on sick days, he could utilize his 5 bereavement days due to a death in his family. The matter was discussed by the board president and myself, and the superintendent was informed that when you're sick, you are no longer able to report for duties, and the fact that if you had the unfortunate situation of a death in the family, you weren't going to work anyway because you were sick. By way of analogy, if you were on vacation, and if you were sick on vacation or you had a death in the family, it doesn't then cancel the vacation and then allow you to take a sick day or a vacation day. The superintendent voiced his objection to that determination, and as part of the board update, the board has to make a determination on whether they are comfortable with maintaining the position or they want to allow him to use his bereavement days while he was on sick. That's the first issue that needs to be decided by the board. The second is that we will be faced with a medical examination and receiving something from his doctor on March 24th. That doctor's examination will give us an indication on whether the superintendent is able to return to work or not able to return to work. So the next question that the board has to decide is to what extent it wants to have something more than a medical documentation that says, I can come back to work, I cannot come back to work. Looking at both possibilities, since he's been out of work since November 14, which is approximately 4 months as of now, and it'll be 4 months plus, how comfortable does the board feel having the superintendent who's been out for medical reasons coming back? If there's any concern on the board's part that there may be a question about his ability to resume his duties after being out for that period of time. The way to find out whether you feel comfortable is requiring a more detailed medical documentation from his physician, which the board will review and can submit it to a school physician to make a determination on whether that's sufficient for his return. Conversely, if the medical report, or at least the documentation is that he can't return for work, and because we know how long he's been out, and there is a concern on the board's part, how long will he be able to continue to be out on sick leave, and if he exhausted his sick leave using times coming, a decision has to be made by the board, God bless you, as to whether we would require more detailed medical documentation, which would then be reviewed and possibly considered by the school physician to determine the continued absence. Because as far as the board is aware right now, we have a medical document that simply says can't return to work. But when you've been out for better than 4 months, it would indicate that there's something more serious than having someone had a flu and just has to recuperate it. So that's the next decision that you would otherwise have to make. There will be a third decision, but it'd be premature making a third decision because it's going to be dependent upon what that doctor's note says, whether you require more detailed and what the determination would be. But as it stands now, if you just want to calculate the time coming that the superintendent has, if you deny the use of bereavement leave, it would approximately be May 14th when he would exhaust all of his sick days, personal days, and vacation days. So that's the update we have. There are 2 decisions basically the board needs to make in terms of how to treat the bereavement leave, and 2, requiring him to submit more detailed documentation for the March 24th appointment, and based on that, receipt and review by our school physician to determine whether the board is in agreement with that recommendation, whatever it may be.
All right.
So with that in hand, Madam President, maybe we could talk about the first issue and then proceed to the
Yes.
second.
Okay, so the first issue, again, is the use of bereavement days, and whether or not the board supports it based on the advice of our counsel or the interpretation of our counsel. Just so you, again, have the understanding, use of the bereavement days, there would be 5 days. I have documentation that was provided by Dr. Charleston. And now is the time for us to, I guess, determine, are there any questions that you have to ask Mr. O'Hara regarding the use of the bereavement days or anything? Yes.
I just want to clarify. Is he currently on leave still, correct?
Yes, right now, he is using, I think today is probably vacation day or, like,
Okay.
it's in there.
Okay.
I just don't have the.
Okay,
thing up.
all right,
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to know, okay.
yeah. He is currently on leave. All right. Yes.
So the policy is that he would not get bereavement. So what was the objection? Like, what's the basis for the objection?
The basis for the objection could be that he is already on leave.
No, I'm saying, yes, the policy is that he wouldn't be entitled to it because he's already on leave, but
So we have,
Rodney said that
we have the option
he
to still.
is there any context behind why he objected, or just that?
His interpretation is that he should be able to take them and then switch his leave type to bereavement and then back to either sick or vacation. So it's incumbent upon us to then determine whether or not, that where our interpretation is. We could just choose to. I'll say my stance would be that I'm just choosing to exercise compassion and say that the 5 days of bereavement, I'm okay. But that's everybody's individual determination. We have the option to go even as far as Mr. O'Hara said. So it's up to us, to make that determination. Hopefully I was clear. Thanks. All right, so seeing no other questions, I guess we can do straw poll. Yep, Mr. Corey.
It just took me a minute. I pulled on bereavement leave myself, so I understand it's a phone call you make saying that, and I'm speaking of myself, like, hey, I'm not planning to be out tomorrow, but I will be. And then they just drop the phone. So is that how, there's no notice period for bereavement or anything if there was I'm asking about the policy specifically.
Well, I think the issue really is, if you're out sick or you're out on vacation and you're taking either a sick or vacation day, if you have a death in the family, can you say, I'm no longer sick or I no longer want to take vacation? No one is doubting that there was a death in the family, and no one is unsympathetic to the impact on it, but you need to decide whether you feel comfortable allowing someone to change the days that they've taken depending upon a different set of events. So again, it's not because we question, because if he was here, he would be able to use, and working, he would be able to use his bereavement days.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
I think my thought process is that, like you said, you wouldn't switch, and my concern is that we as a board, we set policy, and actions we take set precedent. So if we would suggest that somebody on vacation could change their classification of paid time off, excused or otherwise, then what we do today for a single action sets the precedent for how policy is kind of retroactively enforced and regulated. So that's still in my mind as if there are other questions. I just want to share that train of thought.
Thank you, Mr. Corey. Ms. Rendell?
Just hearing you say that, if somebody was taking vacation and somebody passed away, they couldn't then say, you know what, I have to go to this funeral, I'm going to use bereavement, and I'm going to hold on my vacation and use it another time? That is not allowed? Is that what you're saying, that they can't change that?
Basically, they weren't going to come in at all.
Right, but they
were on
couldn't use a vacation.
And the next way of looking at it, what if you're sick?
Right, I'm just asking if you can
And
change it or not.
it's just a philosophy on how you would otherwise treat it.
Okay.
And knowing that it's an issue that he has presented, you need to make a determination how comfortable you feel. Because you got to remember, the request is being made as the superintendent of schools. is not someone who is part of a union or non-aligned. So, as you said, sir, in terms of setting a precedent, how you deal with it in terms of the superintendent is basically going to send a pronouncement. That's how you would deal with it, both for aligned and non-aligned. So that's basically why it's presented to you as to how you want to proceed.
All right.
And I know we're talking about vacation, but like, if someone's on like parental leave, like it's kind of the same thing, so I feel like what we determine could affect something like that if someone then tries to tag on bereavement. Anyway, it's not just vacation and sick, there's like those leaves also, right, that it would impact as far as setting precedent.
All leave. I would assume that this would apply to any leave that could be taken. And it's a maximum of 5 days, and it would be able to be taken however the person would request. So, okay. All right. Are there any other questions? Do you think we're ready? Do you need a moment? Are you able to do a straw poll on this item? It's not, we can all acknowledge that it's not really something that we're not, it's not comfortable, right? Like, so we're all sitting in there, but we do have to make a decision. Okay.
Ultimately, why you're calling it a straw poll is to get a consensus.
Yes.
But if you do want to grant the request, then it will require a resolution when you go out to public. But we don't want to jump back and forth, so we deal with the two issues, and then any action that needs to be taken will be done afterwards.
All right. Okay. So we'll have 2 straw polls. The first one will be to grant the requested bereavement. And if you're in favor of granting the requested bereavement and setting that precedent, you can raise your hand. All right. All right, so then this next would be for not granting the 5 days of bereavement and because of being on leave. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm like congested. So the next poll would then be for those not in favor of allowing the bereavement in this situation because of already being on leave. All right, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think to simplify it, just, do you want to grant him the use of bereavement leave while he was on sick day? That's basically,
Yeah.
that makes it as simple as possible.
I just want to make sure I got the wording right, what I'm hearing.
So
It's confusing,
yeah.
it's almost like a double negative.
I got you.
Yeah.
So grant bereavement, yes. Don't grant bereavement. Okay. And then abstain. Is that, I'm sorry? Okay. All right. Okay. All right, on to the second item. Oh, well, now we need to have a,
Discussion of the medical documentation.
well, I mean, do we need to have a resolution or something?
We're right now in executive session. Let's finish up our executive
Got it.
issues, and then any public action we'll take afterwards.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so the second item of business is, remind me again. Yes, the medical examination. I think you have.
Yeah, so I think the question is whether or not we want to request additional information from his medical provider related to the leave. So typically, I think you're all aware, I'm an HR person, and typically, you, during a leave of this time period, you'd want to have an understanding of the person's estimated return to work date and kind of the conditions that we would be facing. So if there isn't a return to work granted, it would give us rather a better indication. And I think if the superintendent is expected to return to work, would we expect something that says that they are fit for duty?
Yeah, I would say that it would be the same for me in my medical profession, that I would actually have to be proctored for a period of time. And I don't get the sense that we're asking just for proctoring, we're just asking for like a fit for duty or about some sort of evaluation. That would be an option that we would take. And I would assume that since we're talking about essentially like the CEO of our school system here, that it wouldn't be unreasonable. Okay. So are there any other questions or, what are your feelings? Anybody? Okay. No. So I'll just do a straw poll to say whether or not we are requesting a fit for duty. First will be yes, requesting some sort of fit for duty. Oh, yes, please.
Is this from his doctor or our doctor?
Mr. Harrow, you were suggesting that a process could be that his doctor would provide some sort of detail, and then that detail would then be submitted to our school physician to make the determination.
Yes, and if the school physician determines that an examination is needed, then we would require such an examination. But right now, since all the board has been receiving is a medical note to saying cannot return to work, the question is, when that examination takes place, do we want something in more detail to understand why he can come back to work or why he cannot? Have that reviewed by the school physician, and the school physician to determine whether there's an agreement with that or a further examination is needed.
All right. Is that clear? Okay. All right, so the first straw poll would be yes to requiring that return to duty notice. So if you're in favor of return to duty notice being submitted, if you're raising your hands. Okay, and seeing it being unanimous, that's it. All right, are there any additional questions for Mr. Hara? As of right now, our plan would be to wait and see with the next set of notices and go from there.
Your next board meeting,
April 7th.
yep. So that would be appropriate time for then the board to decide what, if any, action is going to be taken as a result of the receipt of the doctor's notes and the input from the school physician.
Yes. All right. And in terms of, I'll just need some assistance with the resolution, but at that point, we would close our mini executive session. All right, and then while we are figuring out the resolution, then maybe we can talk about the multicultural student exchange and then have a resolution, like how should we proceed? We'll just give it a second.
Damali, I think that when we go back to open session, because we're still in kind of visible closed, then we.
So I think it's, we're still in public,
It
yeah.
was just a de facto executive session.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing.
It is, it got me thinking.
It's an open, yeah, open, closed session. All right. We're just giving this a moment.
What you could do is, in interest in time, while I'm drafting the resolution, you could proceed on the next item.
Sure, all right. So multicultural student exchange?
Sure. So I just have a quick update for the board. If you remember last year, I know you remember last year, we had a connection with the Beijing Academy. So in the June, we sent 8 students, I think it was, with 2 teachers to Beijing, visited the academy, cultural exchange for them. We continued our relationship with them this fall by hosting a number of their students here, 20, 22, something like that, I can't remember. So the opposite exchange of that, which was great. It was a lot of work, but I think it was a really valuable experience for our students and for theirs. And then we continued with, in January, we had some middle school age students visiting here for a few days on their kind of way out of the country. So we have the opportunity to continue this relationship with Beijing Academy. And what's on kind of the potential here is a trip for our students again in the end of May 31st through June 10th. It would be 10 days, I think is what that ends up being. Maximum of 13 kids, including 2 teachers, and be a very similar trip to last time as far as cultural exchange, being able to see the sites where, paired up with kids at Beijing Academy. And then also they're asking for our teachers to provide some professional development for their teachers. So this kind of cross-cultural type of thing as well as on the adult level. And then there's also an opportunity in July for some of our teachers alone, not students, with students, to go there to provide, again, professional development for Beijing Academy teachers. Up till now, as you know, Michelle Della Fortuna has really been leading a lot of this, and she went to China with them, and she hosted a lot of these things. She is stepping aside from this because she's the math supervisor and this is not really in her wheelhouse, right? But we do have a teacher who's interested in taking it on as the person to coordinate, and Michelle said that she would help kind of ease with that transition and get her on board and do that. And then we're looking for other teacher to go on the trip with her. So that's what I wanted to bring up to you and see if the board has appetite for this, to continue this relationship. I don't have any specific concrete details other than what I've shared with you, and there was a tentative itinerary for students. But before I proceed and reach out to this to get details, I wanted to make sure that what the board's appetite is for this.
Okay. I guess, do you have an overview, like of just generally what, like how many visits, like in the year, like just kind of any guidelines or anything like that?
I don't. This is really as much as I know. I've just heard the pieces of this, and I don't have the bigger plan.
Okay, Mr. Cullen?
Sorry, since I'm new, is there a way to get the contract or like understanding the agreement between us and the Beijing Academy?
I don't have it, but I can look for it. Yes, I can ask for it and get an agreement between us. Yes.
That would be great.
There was one already in place and then it just continues, or it has to be renewed every year?
I'm not familiar with how it was done, the contractual language before.
Okay, so yeah, if we could see something in writing that would say this is the outline of the program and expectations.
Cool.
All right, thank you. Yes.
I'm supportive of continuing it. I know it's something that Dr. Charleston started talking about when he first arrived as a source of revenue, actually, for us, which I think is something we definitely need to continue looking at. But as a host family, I thought it was a really incredible experience. So I think it benefits our students as much as it does their students and our just overall community. So I'm definitely supportive.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Mrs. Della Fortuna, I'm sad that she's moving on, but I understand it's a lot of work, but she was just amazing as far as onboarding our family onto the process. So just a big thank you to her.
Awesome. All right, you had something?
No, I was just going to say I'm a huge supporter of cultural exchange in general, so I think it's a great program.
Yeah.
Whatever the details are, I know I've heard about some of the successes and the kids coming here, and I've talked to some of the teachers who've gone over there, and absolutely worth continuing.
Yeah, so I look forward to, I guess, getting some of that documentation, just so that we can have kind of like a long-range plan and seeing like what things look like over the course of the year and see how we can continue the support.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Wendell.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was supportive of it as well. I think it was really good for our kids. I think it was really good for our school, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of all of it, so
Awesome,
if that's what you were looking for, that's what it is.
thank you.
Thank you.
Greg, was there a discussion, talking with partner schools from other countries as well, or is that something that, I thought that was part of a discussion that I heard, because this has been relatively successful in town, it hasn't been big, COVID stopped a lot of processes, but if, as you're going through this, you find other opportunities, Latin America, Europe, I think that'd be great to hear about that as you come back from just this one too, so.
I do remember Dr. Charleston mentioning something. I don't know if it was like France or something. Norway? I don't know.
No, nothing exciting.
No.
There was something.
To close the comment, I think like what we've done already kind of opened the door to the concept.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be a repeat. We've successfully taught children how to speak Chinese and Spanish somehow in our elementary schools. So half joking and half, it's just exposure. So hope you keep it up.
Thank you. All right. Okay. All right, so we have a hand carry resolution here, and I will read it out loud, and then we'll have a motion on the table from someone. Be it resolved that the superintendent's request for use of bereavement leave during his medical leave of absence is denied. Be it further resolved that that the superintendent shall be required to submit satisfactory medical documentation which either confirms his ability to return to work or his inability to return to work and provide the reason thereof. Therefore,
Without a name.
be it further resolved that a physician designated by the board shall review the medical documentation and determine whether he or she agrees with the determination for whether a medical examination is needed. All right. Okay. So I need a motion. Mr. Corey, and then we have a second. Hayward, sorry. Do we have any further comments regarding discussing this hand carry resolution? All right. If we can take roll.
Ms. Carasola?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. Perlanis?
Yes.
Ms. Rendell?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Calvez?
Yes.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. All right. All right, so our next meeting date is, I'm sorry. Sure, do you have an additional old business?
Yeah. So one thing about the auto email.
Yes.
Is there an update about the ability to create an auto email for when somebody emails the board?
I'll be talking with the Community Relations Committee about that at the meeting on Friday.
And then the name change policy?
So I'm going to send out, like this evening, the email that you sent to me. Mr. Cohen was gracious enough to go through some of the policies and collate information. So I know many of you have like some additional things that you're looking at in terms of putting into the policy. So I will put that out in an email, and then you can like kind of like redline it however you think. And then when we have our next CAL meeting, we'll actually look at having a discussion that can formulate a draft policy. And then I will work on that over the course of the weeks leading up to the following CAL meeting. And then I will present to you like the first draft, like the official first draft of any policy. So we're looking at two CAL meetings, like on the second CAL meeting, then I should be able to have like something to present to you. And then we would have 2 readings and then vote.
Just last thing, I know that there was a request in front of the council, the Glen Council, to add a crosswalk next to Coleman School. I just want to say, as a parent for Coleman students, it was always amazing to me that we didn't have that crosswalk. That intersection is so dangerous, and everybody chooses not to go to the other crosswalk because it's 2 more minutes. And so I think I'll be super supportive, and hopefully
Yeah.
the council.
So thank you for bringing that up. What is the process with regards to that kind of thing? Like, I know in the past, some of that has been on the borough, and that was how we had operated with, I'm sorry? All of it, yeah. So we have no jurisdiction in, from what I understand in the past. So thank you for reminding me. Always going to be supportive of anything with regards to student safety, like hands down. So thank you for also providing that information. And I know Mr. Hendel also had written, and you know, we're all in support there. But we don't have jurisdiction. So I will take it up with, would you be able to take it up as a liaison?
Yes, I will, thank you.
Okay, and so we have our liaison that will work with the council and see how, you know, what is needed of us to continue partnering with the community on getting that addressed. So thank you. All right. So seeing no other items, I would have a motion to adjourn our meeting. All right, by Ms. Carosella and Ed Hayward to close out. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, we are closed at 8:09. Thank you.